And then here with the Empress card is like, that is a chill on my back. For some of y'all, you don't even know. You can't even perceive the things that you are creating and how important to the culture, how important to the communities that you're a part of, that this thing is going to be. We, as spiritualists, especially the astrologers, have been talking about Aquarius energy for a good little minute now, right? Especially because the nodes are switching, right? So, for instance, I'm about to be going through my nodal return because the nodes are switching from, I think, what is it, Pisces and Virgo to Aquarius and Leo. Aquarius North Node, Leo South Node. Those are my nodes, right? Um, and Aquarius energy is about the collective, right? Like, yes, people look at Aquarius energy and be like eccentric or the ones that are not afraid to be different, which all of those things are true. But how does that connect with, and we talked about this in the mid monthly for July, how does that contribute to the collective? Right. So for some of you, whatever this is that you're creating, like, yes, it's you're creating for you, right, as an outlet, as a creative expression, but I feel like some of you don't even know how important the things that you are creating are going to be moving forward for the collective. I've spoken about this so many times as it pertains to how I feel like we need creatives more now than ever in this transformation that we're going through as a collective, right? We're going to need people to document, and we're going to need people to speak and to share and to create and to collaborate to bring about this change that all of us is wanting to see, right? We talk a lot about dismembering and dismantling the structures that have been, and that's important, absolutely. But what I feel like is equally important and equally needs to be talked about is what is going to replace those structures. And your cousin too, rolling down the strip on gold, coming up slamming Cadillac doors. Me and you, your mama and your cousin too. Hey, South Saints, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. I am Mech, and we are here to do the August 2026 Creative Divination for the creatives, amen, for the spiritually inclined creators and creatives, amen. If you are watching this, okay, before we get into all the things, keep in mind that this is a general message, it's a collective message, so it may or may not resonate with you. If it does not, make sure you go downstairs and book something that is a little bit more specific for you, okay? We're going to get into it though. All the information that you need to know, including the decks that I am using, will be downstairs in the description box. And we are going to get into this divination, okay? At the time of me filming this, or by the time that you see this rather, we are coming out of Mercury retrograde in Cancer. Hallelujah. And we are probably somewhere in betwixt the shadow phase and it going completely direct. We are also in the midst of a Saturn retrograde. Jupiter just moved into Leo a little while ago. Okay. All of the things, not an astrologer, just wanted to put you guys on notice. However, I will be leaving some astrologers down below so that you guys can check them out and get you a natal chart reading, or just follow them and soak up the knowledge and information that they share. Amen. But we have a lot going on in the sky, and I keep thinking about the mid-monthly that I did in July. I will pop that up there and downstairs in the description box so that you guys can check that out. If you haven't, it's a timeless divination, so it don't matter when you watch it, okay? But I keep rehashing and rethinking and sitting with, excuse me, we ain't even starting, I'm already hiccuping, with the mid-July, mid-monthly, right? Because in that mid-monthly, oh Jesus! I'm sorry. I'm looking at myself as I'm filming, and the older I get, the more and more I look less like my mother and more like my dad. Like, this is my dad's whole face right now. Anyway, we talked a lot in the mid monthly for July about power, right? Power, Wonder working power. I'm sorry, y'all know I'm churchy. It slips out sometimes. But power, right? And I talked a lot about remembering your power, remembering that you already, just as someone who exists, I can't make this can't make this shit up. We're gonna pop that back in the day. But the fact that you already hold, and this is just a confirmation, you already hold all the power that a lot of us, unfortunately, and I've been guilty of this myself because I am human, I'm part of the collective. We sometimes search outside of ourselves for this power, right? For this sovereignty, for this authority. We look for other people to validate that and give it to us, but we already have it, right? And individual power is just as important as a collective power, because your specific power is what you use to fuel the collective, right? To fuel the collective power. And it's, I don't know, it's just been sitting on me since I posted that. And I think it's just something really important for us to remember as we go into August, which is why I said I'm going to make sure that it's up here and down there so you guys can go check that out. Because we are, by the time you guys see this, are in Leo season. And I said it in the mid-monthly for July. Leos don't ask permission for power. Leos don't ask permission to shine. They shine bright like a diamond, okay? They don't need you to tell them that they fire. No pun intended. But they don't need you to tell them that, right? That's something that a lot of Leos, and of course it's going to be different for different Leos, depending on your birth chart. But also, side note, happy birthday to the Leos, because I know y'all will eat me up for not saying happy birthday to y'all. So happy birthday, Leos. But that's something that they innately have. You feel me? Like, that's something that they just, it's kind of like how people talk a lot about how Capricorns are very they strict, right? It's about work ethic. I just feel like for a lot of Capricorns, it's just something that was built into us, right? It's not about the money, it's not about anything else, honestly, for Capricorns, other than the power, the self-sovereignty, and the choice to, how can I word this? The freedom of choice, right? The freedom that power, that innate power gives us, right? So, Spirit, what is the message for August 2026? And one thing that I really like about the way that my divinations come out, they stack on top of each other, right? So like June builds on July builds on August. You know what I'm saying? It's like it reminds me of building blocks, and I really like that. And you can really go back throughout the months that I think July honestly was the first month that I started back posting. I don't remember doing one for June. I don't think. I would have to go back and look. But anyway, you can go back and you can look and see these building blocks, right? So I'm interested to see what August has for us. Spirit, what is the message? Got my nose itching and things and sorts. What do we creatives need to know about August? Please be clear. While I'm shuffling to get this out, I do want to remind you that on August the 2nd, I will be in Bucks County, PA, and I will be attending and vending at the Reset. I was about to child. The Reset. Anyway, I'll be vending at the Reset, which is a one-day full all-inclusive retreat that is being put together. Why am I still shuffling that? That is being put together by one of my very long-standing mutuals, Ty, and my new mutual Cat with the cards. And it's going to be an experience. It's built and put together for creatives and healers who are just needing a beat. You're needing a break, okay? You're exhausted. Because just face it, we as creatives, we as healers, we do a lot. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we need to rest. Sometimes we need to be poured into as much as we pour into the collective, right? And that is exactly what this retreat is for. There will be vendors. I will be there vending my incense, and there's going to be several other vendors there as well. There's going to be a fire purification ritual. There's going to be a guided walk on the 50-acre farm that it will be taking place on. We're gonna have giveaways. We're gonna have raffles. All of the things. That's hilarious. All of the things. So if you are in the tri-state area, Philly, Delaware, Jersey, and you have a cute little $66 to spare, and you are in need of a retreat, okay, of a reset, make sure you go downstairs in my description box and click the link to book you a ticket. Tickets are very limited, so make sure if that's something that you got your eyes on, you get in where you fit in, okay? I think, and I'm gonna have to talk to Ty to see if this is permissible. But if permissible, I will be filming. I want to make a whole vlog out of it so that you guys can see the experience of all the things. So make sure you're following me on all of my other socials so that you can see what's going on with going on, okay? But let's get into this. Okay. There's a lot of yellow here. Spirit, give me one more card. Okay. So let's start out with the overlying energy that we have, which is gratitude. Okay? We're going to read about gratitude. That's page, or number 35, rather. And it reads, a deep honoring is present. Give and feel great thanks now for whatever blessings have arrived or are en route to you. Drawing this card invites you to share your devotion or to outwardly express gratitude to someone or something for its presence in your life. Meditate and create a gratitude list for all that you are thankful for in your life. The devotional candle is a symbol that has long been used to light a room, a pathway, or even a cake. They're often used in magical rituals and memorials and to honor sacred passages in life. What's very interesting about this gratitude card and that last little bit that I read was, first off, this is my third time trying to film this video, okay? And the last one that I tried to film, it was talking a lot about God, what was the card that came out? My mind just drew a complete blank. I can't even remember the card that came out. Oh, transformation. That's what it was. It was the overlying energy card was transformation. And as soon as I pulled this card and I started to read that, the thing, especially because we have psychic and we have guide at the bottom of the deck, right? The part in the book that I just read where it was saying be thankful and to be grateful for something or someone in your life or the sacred passages that we take in our life. As creatives and as especially spiritual creatives, right? It is so important that we are grateful and that we are thankful, not just for the people and the things in our lives. Don't get me wrong, always forever be grateful for those things, right? But also be grateful for the gifts and the guides that you have, right? And one thing that I personally am always forever grateful for is my particular brand of juju, right? My particular brand of conjure. I tell you guys all the time that I'm a writer with a nasty surgical pen, right? But like specifically as it pertains to the Foolish verse, for instance, yes, it's my creation, but I can't take all the credit for it without giving credit to the spirits and my ancestors that channel through me to write these books, right? So that's something that I'm constantly giving gratitude toward, because without them, could I write this? Absolutely, but it wouldn't have that You know what I'm saying? So make sure, especially as a creative, that you are being thankful for your gifts. You're being thankful for the guides, for the whatever abilities, the same psychic, right? But whatever abilities, whatever gifts, whatever it is that really solidifies you and holds you and is a container for you as it pertains to your gifts. Because I feel like sometimes, because we are, as creatives, um and this, not for all of us, but for most of us, the things that we create, the things that we do, come very naturally to us, right? And so sometimes it's easy to forget, like, you don't have to have them, right? Like, for instance, like, I'm constantly being grateful for my ability to be a amazing writer, because I remember a time where I felt blocked. I felt like a creative block. I felt like nothing that I wrote I liked, and it was in that time that it made me realize, like, are you thankful and are you grateful for this, or is it just something that you just shrug off because it's second nature to you, right? So make sure you are, it reminds me of that saying that, like, if you don't use your gifts, you lose your gifts. I feel the same thing if you're not thankful for them as well. Okay, moving on. Our first card is the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, again, interestingly enough, this came out in the mid July monthly, and I was talking about in that how the Knight of Pentacles is a very, if not the most slowest or slower moving energy in tarot, right? And where a lot of people are like, about the Knight of Pentacles because of the slow nature of it, I have grown to love this card because, as a creative, I have had to learn, and most of you probably have had to learn this lesson at some point too, that sometimes the quickest ain't the best, right? Sometimes you need to let something simmer. Sometimes you need to let it roast a little bit. Because I found for myself that when I rush to do things creatively, 9 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, not every time, but 9 times out of 10, I'm going to have to go back and I'm going to have to fix something, right? Because I was rushing the process, or I was operating outside of that divine timing and that divine alignment, right? And that's why I love the Knight of Pentacles, because I feel like it's such a slow moving energy, but it's slow because the message is do it right the first time, right? Take your time with it the first time. Let it simmer, you know? Again, and I spoke about this, and I'm going to keep referencing the mid monthly in July. Okay, take a shot for every time I say it, but it reminds me of what I was talking about in the mid monthly of July, where, like, a lot of times we be so quick to want to just get through something, right? That we don't realize that, like, am I really going to use this analogy? It's giving the tortoise and the hare, right? How the hare was like, oh, I'm a speed through. I ain't worried about that damn slow ass turtle. I'm a get to the finish line before they do. But the tortoise was very methodical. The tortoise was very calculated, right? About how it's getting to the finish line. That is what this is giving me with this Nine of Pentacles here. For some of you, this is asking you to be grateful for the process, right? I can't stress enough for a creative how sacred the process of creating is, right? And shameless plug, that is why I created the Channel 3 Instance Collection, right? I explained all of this in the mid monthly for July. I'm going to reiterate. It's a 3-step system that I created for creatives to sit with what they are creating and to devote sacred time to what it is that you're bringing to fruition. The very first step in the Channel 3 collection is Signal. And Signal is, if I had to describe it as an energy, it's air. It's air. It's very mental. It's very wispy and whimsical. It's very, like, sit and let the download find you, right? Sit and take your time to process what is coming through for you. And I say this all the time as it pertains to Signal, and to me, it's one of the most important things about Signal. Signal does not require you to do anything, right? It requires you to sit and to receive and to process. Very mentally stimulated energy, right? And the reason that Signal to me is so important is because it builds a foundation for you to build upon, for you to continue to go through this process, right? And I feel like that's also the energy that I'm feeling with this Knight of Pentacles. It's asking you to remind yourself how sacred the process of creation is, and to be grateful for the process, no matter how slow, no matter how tedious it may feel, no matter how much you want things to move forward and you want to pop out and show folk, right? You need to, there's something about the collective here where you need to sit with that, right? You need to sit with it and find the sacredness in that, right? It reminds me of a Substack article that I wrote a long time ago talking about respecting the ritual, right? Respecting where you are, respecting that sacred space um, between the download and between creation, between it coming from the ether and then you grounding it down into the physical, right? Everybody that has ever created something, it has always started here, right? It starts there. So I feel like it would be in your best interest in August to take some time to be grateful for the process. Everybody wants to be the star. Everybody wants to get the notoriety and the attention for the things that they create. And to me, there's nothing wrong with that. But don't let that be the motivating factor that makes you feel like you have to rush to put something out, right? I'm working on a project that I haven't even talked to y'all about, right? Probably won't be talking to y'all about for a good little bit, especially not this year, right? And I realized, even in my excitement as I was coming up with the concept for this project, I knew automatically that this is going to be something that is going to be stretched out over a couple of years. It's not going to be one of those things that I could just slap together and put out. No matter how excited I am about it, right? I had to realize that if I want this thing to be grounded down into the physical properly in the way that I see it up here, I'm going to have to take my time with it. I'm going to have to be a little bit more closer to the chest with it. And I have to be grateful and thankful for the fact that I allowed something like what's the name of that song? It's on the tip of my tongue. Why can I not remember it? It's a song. It's the first song, American Requiem. Girl, American Requiem, and honestly, kind of the whole trilogy of albums that Beyonce has worked on, from Cowboy Carter to Renaissance to whatever the third act is going to be. That was the inspiration for this project. I love how she laid it out. I love how she put it together, and how there's so many different messages and meanings just sprinkled. I love her. You can say what you want to say about Beyonce, and I have some beefs with her of my own. But one thing that we cannot take away from her is her artistry and this up here, because my God, she's such a Virgo. But anyway, it's one of those things that I'm sitting in the sacredness of, right? And I feel like for some of you, this is what August is about for you. Sitting, in the sacredness of that. Which is so funny because the second card that we have is the Queen of Rods, or the Queen of Wands, right? And this is just kind of echoing what I said, but the Queen of Wands is an energy that is very creative, very passionate, right? Very self-assured. When I think of the Queen of Wands, I also think of an energy that wants to get something done quickly in a very short amount of time, right? Which, again, echoes the point that I was making earlier with this Knight of Pentacles. Sometimes fastest ain't always best. Why? The third card that we have out is the Moon. Okay? There may be things uh, there may be things that you are not quite all the way aware of in the process, right? It's so interesting because the reading that I tried to do before this one, we had the veiled card, right? And the veiled card was talking about things not being all the way made privy to you just yet, right? And so the reason that I feel outside of, being able to um, engulf yourself in the process, if you will, and to be thankful for being able to be engulfed in the process. There is something else here. I almost want to clarify it, but there's something else here that is asking you to slow down, right? It's asking you to really sit with whatever this is that you're working on. I keep thinking about the transformation card that came out in the last reading that I tried to do. I feel like this is also asking you to be present, to slow down in order to be more present, because there may be something for some creative that is watching this that is very important to the transformative nature and the energy that you're going through right now, right? There's something here. I said maybe a couple of videos back about how our creativity as creatives transform and it grows as we transform and grow, right? And so even down to how you create, how you process getting things from here, from the ether, grounded down into the physical, something about that process may be changing, right? Something about that process or some healing that you are going through is integral and important to the transformation, right? So I'm going to clarify this because y'all know I'm a nosy somebody. So take your time. Also, I keep looking at this psychic and guides card. Some of you may need to slow down because you may be coming online with different. It could be different clairs. It could be other gifts that are trying to come through that are, what's the word? Directed by your guides, right? It could be your guides trying to come sit with you, right? Trying to guide you through this transformation, through this project. And for some of you, I know this is true for me, the projects that I'm working on have proven to be very transformative for me as well. As I worked on the Channel 3 collection, it was something that I was working out in real time, right? It was something that I wanted to share with y'all because it was a process that really helped me as somebody who is neurospicy, as somebody who is a conjure woman, as somebody who is a writer, is who wears all of these different titles, right? Um, it was obvious for me in real time how this was shifting my mindset, how it was taking me from sometimes this Queen of Wands mixed with the Knight of Swords type of energy, feeling like I have to just go, right? It's allowed me to sit, and me sitting has been very transformative, right? So for some of you, what the things that you are working on are transformative, even if you don't realize it right now. But it may be one of those situations where you look back at it years from now, right? And you're like, yo, this was very pivotal in me being who I am today, right? I needed this process of creation. I needed this process of going from the ether to grounding it down into the physical and then releasing it into the world to do what it needs to do and see if it ricochets back to me in some way. Ooh, that just gave me chills. Spirit, what is this moon card about? What is this moon card about, Spirit? I'm I'm tired of y'all throwing cards at me. I'm just saying. I love what I do. I love being a divider. Okay. The cards that came out to clarify the moon are the Fool and the Empress, right? So to my point, there may be something that you need to sit with. There may be something going on emotionally that you need for this next leg of your journey. The Fool, excuse me, is about new beginnings, right? I look at the Fool in as it pertains to the heroes, to the Fool's journey, right? As the baby, right? Um, the number of the Fool card is zero, aka anything can happen. You feel me? And then here with the Empress card, it's like, that is a chill on my back. For some of y'all, you don't even know. You can't even perceive the things that you are creating and how important to the culture, how important to the communities that you're a part of, that this thing is going to be. We, as spiritualists, especially the astrologers, have been talking about Aquarius energy for a good little minute now, right? Especially because the nodes are switching, right? So, for instance, I'm about to be going through my nodal return because the nodes are switching from, I think, what is it, Pisces and Virgo to Aquarius and Leo. Aquarius North Node, Leo South Node. Those are my nodes, right? Um, and Aquarius energy is about the collective, right? Like, yes, people look at Aquarius energy and be like eccentric, or the ones that are not afraid to be different, which all of those things are true. But how does that connect with, and we talked about this in the mid monthly for July, how does that contribute to the collective, right? So for some of you, whatever this is that you're creating, like, yes, it's you're creating for you, right, as an outlet, as a creative expression, but I feel like some of you don't even know how important the things that you are creating are going to be moving forward for the collective. I've spoken about this so many times as it pertains to how I feel like we need creatives more now than ever in this transformation that we're going through as a collective, right? We're going to need people to document, and we're going to need people to speak and to share and to create and to collaborate to bring about this change that all of us is wanting to see, right? We talk a lot about dismembering and dismantling the structures that have been, and that's important, absolutely. But what I feel like is equally important and equally needs to be talked about is what is going to replace those structures, right? And I feel like those of us who are alive and consciously on our journeys and constantly creating and sharing and things and such, we're important to that process, right? And I like it's all, and I this is sometimes why I don't like social media, because like obviously, like, yeah, we see what's going on, we see how important it is, but it doesn't always have to be doom and gloom. This isn't trying to what's the word, bypass. This isn't me saying like just ignore all of the things that are going on, but like, can we celebrate the fact that, like, yeah, all of this is crumbling and it sucks for a lot of us right now, but in my grandfather's words, when we get over, right, when we get over, what is going to be there? And I feel like that is what this is talking about, especially because this is a collective reading, right? So if you're somebody who has been in the midst of your own transformation, you are learning different things about yourself. In the last reading that I tried to film, I was talking about how when I was shuffling, I got this vision of a toolbox. What is in your toolbox right now that you can use to build upon the structures that we're building now? What is it about this process, this alchemical process of transformation that you're going through, that you're creating? How is that going to help fuel the collective, right? Again, Aquarius energy is not about me, 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 me. It's about the collective, right? And so, yes, where there is room for individualism, right? Because we all have to be individuals. We all have our own journey. But I am one of those people who firmly believe that we're also all connected. Like, I firmly believe that, for example, the people that I'm mutuals with, we're connected for a reason. right? We're being brought together for a reason. There's a reason why people are leaving Abrahamic religions by the droves and going back to I'm gonna just say, like, I'm gonna just speak for us, black spirituality, right? We're going back to the traditions and the ways of our elders and the blueprint that they left for us, and we're tapping into that. And I feel like that's so important right now, right? Because it denotes, like, yes, sovereignty, but sovereignty in the midst of this communal tradition of hoodoo, right? Take a beat. Take a beat. Like, take this slowly. This is not an energy that it it feels um very slow. It feels very, what's the word, intentional, right? Y'all know my sign off. With everything, be intentional. I say that for a reason, because everything that I do as a creative is intentional. And what's helped me be even more intentional is taking things slowly, right? Is sitting with things and realizing the sacredness of what it is that I'm creating. Like that project I was talking to you guys about a second ago. It's such a sacred process for me, and I'm loving it, because not only am I creating something to put out for the consumption of others, it's transforming me in the ways that I think, in the ways that I create, in so many ways. So if this is you, right, and you are really like, I want to do this, I want to get this out, slow down, take a beat, right? We're, as I'm putting this out, obviously, it's August. We're moving into the fall. Things are going to start slowing down, right? Things are going to start slowing down. I don't know how else to put that. So, like, follow the seasons. You know what I'm saying? Follow the energy that is all around us collectively, and just take your time with whatever this is. No matter how slowly you put this out, divine timing is a thing, right? We rush to sometimes do things because we're like, oh, I'm running out of time, or I want to hurry up and get this out. they they will come as they're supposed to, right? Let's get a advice card, because we are already at 35 minutes. Amen. So let's get a advice card via the wisdom of the oracle. I can't make the building blocks. Remember I said earlier on in the video that I feel like my readings are building blocks? That's crazy. Spirit, what is the advice for the collective for August 2026? What do we need to know? Please be clear. What's the message, Spirit? I keep looking at myself and, like, I see my dad. That's crazy. I don't know why I can't make this shit up. Y'all just saw me shuffle, okay? The two cards that came out are TikTok and building blocks. And I'm reading both of them. That's wild. That is absolutely bottom of the deck regeneration. I can't make this shit up if I tried to. I can't. I can't. Let's do building blocks first. It's number 28. And we are going to read we're going to read the prosperity message. It says, you have everything that you need to turn iron into gold in the alchemical process of creating the prosperous. I think this came out in last month's reading. Lord. Now is the time to build on the strong foundation you already have laid for your prosperity. Keep in mind that these building blocks are endued with the sparkling energy of your intentions. Own your dream and remember that you always have more than enough, and you are always enough. So abundance is ever present. Your creativity is divinely inspired, and the design for your life is taking shape in service to the world. You are meant for success. So, yes, this actually absolutely came out last month. That's crazy because the service to the world piece. We just talked about that, right? Let's see what TikTok has to say. TikTok on the clock. We're going to read the protection message. It says, have you been feeling as if the clock is ticking and gotten a little nervous that your dreams are taking too long to manifest? I cannot make this shit up. There is nothing to fear. You will never run out of time for the important things. The miracles that are yours and yours alone cannot be missed. Isn't that amazing? You're in such capable hands with guides and angels. With guides and angels hovering in the invisible spaces, ensuring that your journey will be filled with all sorts of goodies. Let your anxiety be gently dispelled by your faith. Spirit will never deny you your highest good. All is yours in divine, appropriate timing. You can relax. I don't even have nothing else to say to that. I really don't. I don't have anything else to say. I don't. I hope you guys who I'm gonna have to sit with this thing. With that, I'm going to bid you adieu. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you click all the buttons and all the things and help to support the channel. I appreciate you. And as always, be great, get bread, stay all the way live, and with everything, be intentional. I will see y'all for the mid-monthly. So, see you later. Peace.